Don't forget the Palestinian brothers and sisters in your du'as. I'm going to leave a link in the description in case you want to donate to a charity that has a 100% donation policy. Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. I don't know why on earth no one's touched on this topic. Now before I jump in, because I'm not going to be pulling back any punches, I know some people are lying and waiting for Andrew Tate to slip up. They're saying, you guys accepted him when he said he's a Muslim. Yes, we did. Because that's what you're supposed to do if somebody accepts Islam. Are you saying if someone's background is not according to your liking that they're not Muslim? And secondly, the advocates of the disease and the cancer of toxic feminism that we see today, they'll be like, aha, you were supporting him with what he was saying with regards to masculinity. Yes, a lot of what he said was needed and was incredibly beneficial. That being said, you can disagree with other elements of a person's personality, and that's what we're going to do today. And what we're going to disagree about is despicable, frankly. Yeah, the language that Andrew Tate has been using is deplorable, racist, and not suitable for somebody who's been a Muslim for at least a year. So let's have a listen and you guys can be the judge.
That Packy. Anyway. What's he say?
Because Andrew, in my opinion, is chasing relevance and acceptance by the far right by platforming people like Katie Hopkins and promoting Tommy Robinson. What he is doing is staining his legacy. Now, the P word that he mentioned, we know, especially here in the UK and in Canada, it has racist connotations. Just journey a little bit back to the 1970s and there was something called Packy bashing, in which anyone with a brown skin color was bullied, their shops were destroyed, and they were beaten sometimes to death. And being somebody that lived in Luton, you should know this. It's not like you're American that's confused that, I was just confused, I thought it was short for their country. And somebody might be saying, maybe he's joking, but remember when KSI was joking? We didn't accept that as an excuse. And there are just so many clips. Here's another one.
Everyone's just coming in and invading our country.
Packies.
Yeah, well.
There you go. Yeah. And even if it's written tweets, I mean, how many excuses can you make for this guy? He's used this term so many times. And who else has used this term and uses terms like this?
Taxi. Little p*** drives car.
And now we're hearing terms like this even in the riots as well. And here we can see recently, in the last few years, in Manchester there was a stabbing and the P word was used by the perpetrator. And in case somebody is still there sitting on the fence, here's a tweet that he did depicting the Cardiff attacker as brown and with a knife, and no context needed or given, frankly. And then he speaks highly of Tommy.
I tweeted today in support of Tommy Robinson. He is against corrupt governments. Plus, I know him on a personal basis. I don't need everybody to agree with everything I say.
He makes it clear that he is against Islam, mate. Yeah, there are other clips in which he's okay with Hindus, Sikhs and Jews. It's the Muslims that he's got the problem with. But because of semantics, he says, no, it's Islam, not the Muslims, even though the Muslims are following Islam. And it's very clear that he supports Zionism and he's a Zionist agent. In fact,
we're not against migrants, okay? I'm against Islamic immigration into our country.
We are sole purpose to tackle Islam.
If there was a war tomorrow, which there will be, because I'll probably start at the end of the session. If there was a war and it kicked off, I would be there on the front line fighting for Israel.
What to say about Islam and that, innit?
Yeah, I have,
yeah. Yeah? So why don't you say it now?
What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
It's ideology. It's got no place.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's got no place.
the very organization that he started, the English Defence League, you will see that it was initially registered as the English and Israeli Defence League. So much for England looking after our borders. It's all about the UK, mate. No, it's about the UK and Israel. And this is very ironic because just recently what we saw in the French opening ceremony of the Olympics, we saw them disrespecting an integral part of Christianity and Jesus, peace be upon him. Muslims stood up. Andrew Tate was one of them. He's saying you should not tolerate this blasphemy. And it's true. But why is it that you tolerate the blasphemy for your own religion from Tommy Robinson?
We talk about this with Gaza, Israel right now. So I think it's kind of hypocritical to talk about how the Gazans have been repressed and the land is being taken from them by insane globalists, and then sit there and say, well, the British shouldn't complain that insane globalists are importing.
And then he compares Palestine, where the genocide, ethnic cleansing, apartheid is taking place, where Lancet Journal says 180,000 plus Palestinians have died, where UN 2017 describes it as unlivable because there's only 2 hours of electricity a day and 60% youth unemployment. And the 9th head of UN, Antonio Guterres, said if you want to see hell on earth, go look at the children of Gaza. And Israeli army spokesman Daniel Hagari said the goal there is destruction, not accuracy. How dare you compare what's going on over there to what's going on over here? How dare you?
However, this false dichotomy of sides, choose a team, is exactly what the Matrix wants. Because I'm going to tell you what is going to happen.
No, I'll tell you what happened. You want to talk about Matrix? You riled them up with false information. Yours was the early few biggest voices that said that he was an illegal immigrant.
So an undocumented migrant decided to go into a Taylor Swift dance class today and stab 6 little girls. I don't see any protests in the UK. I don't see anybody complaining. Nobody's outside of the school. Nobody's outside the police station. I don't know what it's going to take for Western civilization to wake the up. Your enemies are not far away. It's domestic. They've been invited in by treasonous politicians.
A range of people took part in the disorder, from children to long-term far-right activists. A former head of counter-terror policing says some violence has crossed the threshold into terrorism.
In fact, somebody at the prominence of Nigel Farage, even he took news from you and then threw you under the bus.
One of the reasons the Southport riots were as bad as they were is we weren't told the truth. There were stories online from some very prominent folks with big followings, Andrew Tate, etc.
Now you guys who started this off look like prats, because in certain areas only 50 of them turn up, 100 of them turn up, and now you're sitting over there with egg on your face. You got tricked by the Matrix, and now you're leading others back into the Matrix by supporting Zionist assets like Tommy Robinson and perpetuating a migrant scapegoat, which we know is not the real cause. Because those people that are talking about migrants, okay, illegal migrants, of course, it's not a good thing. The conversation doesn't start from, oh, people are coming. Nothing happens in a vacuum. Why are people coming? Because Britain, at one time or another, has ruled over 90% of the globe. And they've gone over there, colonized them, pillaged them, and then come back and built their own countries. Not only that, these people will say, yeah, we don't want migrants coming over here and causing issues. Well, we don't want that either. But you come to our countries and you take the natural resources to pump into your own countries, thereby leaving our countries in ruin. Because you get involved in the politics as well, then you make us hate the color of our own skin, bigging up your own countries, and then out of survival and necessity and post World War II to rebuild your country, because, if I might add, most of the World War I people defending you were Punjabi Muslims. Oh yes, the highest amount of 136,000. In fact, Major Gordon Corrigan, he said Indians saved the empire, and were they not there, Germans would have broken through. In World War II, the second highest amount were the Muslims, who provided the second highest amount of 595,000. So we help you in your world wars. Then, according to the British Nationality Act, you call us over from the colonies legally, so we come and we settle, rebuilding your country, and apparently that's an issue as well. You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. Comparing Pakistan and other countries, Pakistan didn't do what I've mentioned. They didn't colonize other countries, siphon off their resources to build up their own country, and then get involved in a world war and then invite people from the colonies to help rebuild it. Give me a break. The conversation needs to happen holistically. Are there issues when it comes to migration and the likes? Of course there are. Is that the only issue that should be the reason why people are coming out on the streets and smashing up shops? No. And if you think it is, mate, only God can help you. That's all I can say. And you know what the greatest irony is? He's hyped up all these people and now these far-right individuals are turning against him. Read this tweet. Oh, he's disappointed that they are turning against him. Oh, okay. So much sympathy coming your way, Andrew. Not. And now Nigel Farage is even throwing the likes of Tommy under the bus as well. They're turning on each other. Good. Good on you, mate. And hopefully, Andrew, this will be an awakening for you. That these people that you are looking towards for acceptance, they will never accept you. So the only one you need to be true to is God. For if you fix your relationship with God, Allah, then Allah will fix your relationship with the people. If we try to do it the other way around, it just doesn't work. Let's leave it there, guys. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum.